Hello everybody, my name is Marlo and welcome to episode 50 of our Minecraft survival series, where today we are doing the highly anticipated world tour, and I am super excited to take you guys around and show you everything that we've created together here over the course of 49 episodes. I guess we're not actually going to be building anything today. Now, before the world tour commences, I do have a couple of things to tell you guys. First of all, as you may be able to hear, I'm a little bit ill, slightly under the weather, and don't worry, I'm okay. I just got a bit of a sore throat, but it is affecting my voice, which is probably going to slowly deteriorate over the course of this video, so be prepared for that, but I'm going to do my best to power through. Now, if you are at all interested in this series or my channel as a whole, I'm going to recommend you stick around until the end of the video here today. What exactly is going on here? I'm not sure, but if you are interested, please do stick around, because at the end I'm going to do a little bit talking about what my plans are for the future of this series, what we're going to be doing next, and generally everything related to 1.17, the Caves and Cliffs update here on my channel. So yes, stay tuned for that one, and I'm also going to talk a little bit about the world download that you guys can get access to at the end of the video too. So at the moment, we are walking around my custom village that we actually finished building last episode, and we will check this place out in full, but later on, because this makes up probably 75% of my playtime in this world, I would hazard a guess at, and it's going to take a little bit of time to actually look around this whole thing. So yes, we will be coming back to the village here to take a in-depth look, but we'll get round to everything else beforehand. Instead, we're going to be starting on my starter house over here. Yes, this is technically my starter house. It is the first thing I built in this world, possibly a bit bigger than some people's starter houses, but hey, that's what I like to do. And as you may have guessed, there are a lot of buzzy residents in this place. If we actually just head up to the top here, you can see not only do we have a cat called Asher up here, but also a bunch of bees. I started this world in 1.15 and they were kind of the big thing, so I wanted to include them into my house here. And as you can see, we can actually access all the honey and everything because they're being smoked out, and this honestly is one of my favorite builds in this entire world, simply because we have these adorable little guys floating around, or trying to float around. They get a little bit stuck sometimes. They need a bit of a nudge every now and again. Down here on the first floor, we have basically everything you could need in a survival situation for the early game. Plenty of storage, a crafting table, some furnaces, and a couple of other utility blocks here and there, as well as a pet dog. Mine here is called Sting. I actually just gave him a pork chop, so there you go, you get two. Don't eat too much though. You've already got your steak over here that you still haven't eaten, despite ringing the bell numerous times. And here's a cool little thing. This cornflower right here is actually the first block that I ever broke in this world, and I decided to keep it as a little bit of a memento and stored it in this flower pot here, which is pretty cool. But as you may have guessed, I ran out of room pretty quickly and needed to expand, so I put my redstone expertise to the test here and created that hidden piston door, which took an embarrassing amount of time to actually figure out. Redstone is not my forte, but this led to my underground storage room, which just has all of my items that I've gathered together in this world. There are quite a few down here, and then over on this side I have all of my utility blocks with some paintings and also a hidden room here. This is where I go to sleep if for whatever reason a mob is too close to my bed there on the top level, which happens quite a lot. But on the topic of hidden entrances, we also have one here behind the classic painting, which leads to my backup room, which I never actually use, so this is kind of useless at this point, but it basically has just all of my backup gear if for whatever reason I lost all of this in a terrible accident. This was fun to build. By the way, these are on a hook because of a data pack that I got on vanillatweaks.net. Underneath my storage room here, I also have a creeper farm, and all of my drops go in these 5 chests here, which I've just discovered are completely full to the brim, so this has been overflowing for goodness knows how long, but yeah, this is obviously super helpful for crafting a bunch of firework rockets. Now, I was going to try do this video in chronological order, but honestly, I'm going to give up on that because genuinely, I don't know what order I built everything in. So we're just going to take a look around here at the other things next to my starter house. I guess we can take a quick look at my free range barn here, which is basically a sheep, cow, pig, and chicken just over there. Animal farm, but the idea of this one is, well, they can free range. They can roam for free. Or they don't have to pay. You know what I'm trying to say. They're not just cooped up in a tiny little hole, which I kind of really like. Not so great on efficiency, but it's just a nice little build. So yeah, each of the 4 animals have their own little house surrounded or surrounding this barn here in the middle. This was actually a really fun build to put together. I quite like this one. I've been meaning to do a tutorial on it for ages. Maybe one day I'll get around to it. But we also, at some point, long after building this, terraformed and transformed this whole area. So we added in some custom trees, a pathway which will take in a little bit to go elsewhere. And there's also this lake that did not look like this originally. There was a lake here, but it was much, much smaller. So yeah, we did some terraforming over here just to improve the look of the starter house, which I absolutely love how it turned out in the end. Also got some bee nests just dotted around in the trees, which I really do quite like. So this guy over here, his name is Onyx. He's my horse. He doesn't really get ridden, but he does have a nice little home in the stables here. And every now and again, don't think he's going to do it, but he likes to freak out on these stairs a little bit and do some spinning around. Maybe if we can just be patient, he'll start doing it. Come on, Onyx. Let me maybe ride you over this way. Can we plop you on the stairs? Okay, do your thing, Onyx. Show the people. Okay, I guess Onyx just is not choosing to perform today. Understandable. He spins around enough. I bet he's going to do it if I turn away. Nope, okay, still not. So over on this way a little bit, I have another build centered around some animals. These guys are some turtles on their own little island, which also did exist, but I just once again made it look a lot nicer. So here we have Scooter, and your name is Smitch, and then there is a third one, but he often just goes out into the ocean for days on end and doesn't ever really come back. And I've honestly... Oh no, here he is. What's your name? Slowpoke. Yeah, that's the other one here. So yeah, got some nice builds all revolving around animals over on this area of the world. Just around this corner here is a build revolving around animals that isn't quite as ethical, shall we say. This is my wool farm, and whilst the sheep inside maybe are not having a great time, it is a really cool and colourful build. So yeah, this is where I go if I needed wool. We actually built this not long ago at all, and I don't think I've really used it much, but I'm happy we have it in this world because it is a cool little build. We do have a couple of builds out in the sea, as you can see, which we'll check out in a second. But before we do, I've just remembered there is one little build that I would like to quickly show you here, which is just around at the end of this pathway here. We had this natural cave that once again I made look a little bit better, put a rickety bridge over to the top here, and this is actually where I went mining to begin with. So we take this minecart rail down, which obviously didn't exist at the start of this world. This is far too many powered rails for the early game, and the mineshaft also didn't look like this, but I came along after. Maybe this isn't why I went mining actually, because none of these are at all expanded, so I think I just told a lie to your face there. But this is a mines that isn't in use, I guess, anymore. I'm not really sure why I first did my mining in this world, but under here is where I've certainly done some mining. However, it wasn't in the early game, as you may be able to tell. This is just where I went digging because I needed stone one time, I think. So there's like a whole bunch of resources in these chests here. There are, I think. Okay, maybe not. I must have taken them all. Okay, yeah, there's a couple here, as you can see. And down here, I also have a flower farm that I use every now and again, and a big old sugarcane farm that I built before I had an automated one. So yeah, there isn't really a whole lot going down here other than slimes, but it is still part of the world, so I wanted to show you regardless. We can actually take this hole up. Actually, no we won't, because I want to pick the minecart back up to the surface. That was some nearly very smooth flying. I guess now we can head out into the ocean. So first things first, some of you may be wondering what this big podzol square is in the middle of the water. This is simply where I chop down the 2x2 spruce trees. You can get on, I think it's actually a stack of saplings here, and then you get a big old chunk of spruce wood that you can chop down. So that's where I do most of my tree chopping, but I guess the next thing I can show you is this ship here, made mostly out of some nether blocks. We have some blackstone, some basalt, and some warped wood. A little bit of a different style to everything going on over there, which I quite like the contrast. I think it works pretty well with the iceberg biome, but This pretty much is a villager trading ship. I don't actually have any villager trading necessarily in this world until I actually built this. We do have some stuff with the village over there, but nothing strictly inhumane and horrible like this is. And it's probably a little bit broken. As you can see, there are some villagers grown up in there, which shouldn't really be the case, but basically it's just a pretty cool looking ship. And then if we go down to the underground, the deck, no, that's not what it's called. Anybody know ship lingo can tell me what the undercarriage of a ship would be called? I could do a Google search, but I know some of you will tell me. So yeah, this is basically where I do all my trading. Got some librarians, some stone masons, and some clerics. That's all I really needed. And this is a design of my own, with the exception of the actual village breeder at the top, and I think it's pretty cool. Won't share how it works exactly because it's a bit finicky. But what I will show you is through here. There he is, we still have him. Sometimes he's invisible, I didn't really know why, but this is Pilly the Pillager, a passive pillager without a sword. I was trying to think of how I could fit more P's into that sentence, or without a crossbow, I should say. And yeah, he's friendly here, and the villagers have been very mean and put him in the jail cell here, even though them themselves are also in jail. It's actually all me who's done this. I'm a terrible person. Continuing on further out into the ocean, we stumble across my iceberg base here, which we did also not too long ago. And as you can see, we got some polar bear residents as well as a couple of rogue bees who are flying around. Okay, more than a couple. There are at least 6 over here, I've just counted. The bee pathfinding is still a little bit broken. They tend to stray away from home sometimes and get stuck in the water. But yeah, we got some bees and also some polar bears out here all around my iceberg base, which I'm a little bit skeptical to actually go inside, because last time I did that there was a creeper and it blew a big hole in the iceberg. So we'll take it nice and slowly, just in case that does happen to be the case. I think I've actually lit it up well enough now, but going steady anyway. But yeah, this is basically just a hollowed out iceberg made to look somewhat natural, and I'm actually really quite happy with how this turned out. I think it is a chilly build, a cool one at that, both meanings of the word. And yeah, I don't ever really use this, but it's just pretty cool to have. I especially like this bridge going from one peak to the next. This leads down to a Nether Portal. We'll head into the Nether later on, because there is quite a few number of things for me to show you in there. The next thing we're going to be checking out here is my Guardian farm, which is actually a ways off into the ocean that way. So I guess let's get flying. And any second now, there it is, it should be coming into render distance. And this was a big old project. We did this pretty much all of it over on Twitch in live streams. I basically felt like doing a real big grindy project over on there, so I picked probably the grindiest of them all, at least for what I'm willing to do, which was a old school style of Guardian farm. I know you don't actually need to do this anymore and drain all of the water, but like I said, I felt like a grind. So yeah, we built this thing. It's super duper efficient. I got my AFK platform up the top there, which I don't honestly use that often, so I don't have that many drops really. But yeah, we have the Guardian farm in the center with all of the drops here in this central storage system, as you can see. And then we also have 4 different farms on all 4 of the walls: cactus, pumpkin and melon, bamboo, and then sugarcane. All of the drops are in the corner, as you can see. These are quite helpful, especially this one for making rockets. But we do also, in all 4 of the corners, as you can see here, have a wheat farm, which doesn't get a whole lot of use. There's no real reason I need wheat except from hay bales, but I just thought it would be a cool addition to have. So there are 4 villagers doing some farming in each of the corners, and those drops also go into the center, just down a level right here. As you can see, there really aren't that many. As I said, I don't spend a whole lot of time over here anymore. There are 2 additional builds nearby the Guardian farm. One is that island right there. Another is my iron farm over here. And I guess we'll just take a very, very quick flyover. I really don't need to show you this because it doesn't look great. It's literally just an iron farm. So yeah, there you go. I believe this was a design from Logical Geek Boy, if I'm not mistaken. But if we go over to the other side, this is something that is a bit more interesting. And those of you who do in fact come to the streams will know exactly what I'm about to show you here. This as they slowly come into render distance, is Sheep Island. And basically, those of you who watch my Twitch enough will get enough channel points to afford to name a sheep and then also give it a color. So as you can see here, there are a bunch of different names from all of the people who come to the streams here. A couple of the white ones don't have any color or name tags, but yeah, this is just a cool little thing you can do with the channel points that you get just for simply being there on the stream. So this is a cool little build. There was unfortunately an incident one time. I was trying to kill a skeleton and a sheep walked in the way, and he got the sharp end of my sword here and unfortunately died, but we respawned him into another red sheep. Let me just see if I can find him. No, you're not red. I'm not very good with colors. You guys probably know that. Is it you? Yes, this is the one. 7-0-16 the second. Unfortunately, Sev was the sheep that got the sharp end of the sword. I'm sorry. I won't do it again. What? Oh, hello. How are you doing? You seem to have exiled one of your sheep, I see. You didn't like him for some reason? How on earth have you got all the way over there? Anyway, we're back over at my starter house now, and I'm gonna follow this pathway up until a certain point because basically this ends up leading to the village, which we don't want to go to just yet, but it is a pretty good vantage point just to kind of get an idea of where we're going, which is around there over to that tree. And as you can see here, there's actually a river that winds all the way around. Is that a skeleton? I do believe it is. Let's get rid of this guy, otherwise he's going to affect our ride, which we certainly don't want. But as you can see here, we have a small little boat dock where we can then board a boat, which has a companion in here already, a little bee buddy. And we can basically set sail here and just go all the way around my custom river here, which I know it's maybe not technically a custom river because this was kind of already here, but I did have to do some terraforming and also another few bits and bobs, like there's some more flowers and some other pieces of foliage on the outskirts, as well as a waterfall which I added in. But then if we continue going around, and as you can see, the seabed is also decorated with some seagrass and kelp, which just makes it look a little bit better. Oh, there's already a boat here. Okay, I guess we'll go all the way around, but we can get off of there and go to the village, but we're not going to be doing that. We're going to be continuing on around and going to the tree, as I said. However, I don't think there's an actual docking station over here, so I think just hopping off here is going to have to do. Okay, I'll come back for you later, don't worry. But basically this is a big old custom tree which we can just climb to the top of and actually head inside, and it's just a cool little tree house. Now, I don't ever use this, you know, there's an iron shovel in here for some reason. I don't know why that's the case. I was going to say there's nothing stored inside of those barrels, but obviously that's not true. This is just a cool little build that I felt like doing. We already have the tree, so why not hollow out the inside and make it into an actual tree house? So there's a couple of things over here next to the tree house. One of them is 2 bridges. I absolutely love adding bridges into my world. I've done that quite a lot, as you may have guessed by now. We've crossed a fair few today. But yeah, we got some bridges over there, which eventually lead to my mountain base, where I have my skelly farm. But more importantly, a bunch of cats. In fact, every cat in the game. We have all 13, or is it 11? I'm not entirely sure, but they all have their individual names, and we spent one episode building this and trying to get every single one. It took a real long time, but I think it was really worth it because this is a fun build to come across. So we also have, as I said, my mountain base and skeleton spawner here, where I got all of my bones at the start of this world. Here's a cool little map, because why not? But then continuing on up, I guess we'll actually check out the base part of it first of all, where we have the storage for the farm, as well as an enchanting table over here, and then kind of like my base section of it. So a bed, a nice little fireplace, and a few other accoutrements here or there, as well as a tiny little aquarium where the fish are still alive. Okay, that's actually a bit of a surprise. We do also have, as you can see, Peepit, who was my parrot that lived nearer to me, but I moved him over here because, well, he's pretty annoying. He's very loud and likes to imitate just about any noise he hears. So yeah, he is over here living in his bird cage next to the skeleton farm, which is actually just under here. We got some pickaxes for some arrows saying up and down. This it leads to the same spot, by the way, in case you're wondering what that other staircase was. But basically we drop all the way down as indicated by the pickaxe arrow, and this is where the skeletons fall into. We kill them, and I don't have any things on me as an example. I guess we can chuck a stone sword up the chute here, but I would get all of the bones and the arrows and whatever else I would want to store, throw it in this bubble column here, and it eventually weaves its way all the way up to the top there and falls into the chest. And I also have a jukebox here just for to listen to some music while I'm killing some skeletons. Heading on over this way, we do have a build that's slightly related to our custom village project. Let's try not to fall down that ravine. But this is my villager outpost, kind of made up of a few tents, each of them actually holding a villager in that they cannot get out of, as you can see, because, yeah, they got all the trapdoors and everything in the way. And this was what I was also meant to use for trading, but never really did. I locked some of their trades, I do believe. Oh, they're going to bed. But, yeah, we got a handful of tents over here with some villagers inside, as you can see, as well as one large teepee in the middle here. And it doesn't function anymore, but underneath we have what used to be a villager breeder, but I recently, when we finished the custom village, brought all of the villagers that were working down here over to the village itself. So now this place, underground at least, is kind of abandoned, but it's still just a nice little campsite where we have some resting villagers. Can I actually borrow? Oh wait, I have my own bed. You can sleep in that one. If you can reach it. I don't know if you can, honestly. Okay, hello creepers, I see you're coming from your magical portal again. I remember this happened one time on a stream and creepers just kept popping up from this one spot, and I was super confused how this was happening, but basically there's a cave under there somewhere, if you can just about see, yeah, through that hole, if YouTube is allowing you to see in that dark footage. But yeah, creepers always pop up from there all the time, as well as some other mobs, but it always seems to be creepers for some reason, which is slightly scary, but I just leave them out there. So yeah, that really, for the most part, is all of the builds in the overworld done, with the exception of one I'm not going to show you in first person, but I can give you some replay mod footage. Basically, this is a raid farm. It's a super advanced farm. I don't honestly know how it works. I believe it's from Nembom. I'll correct myself if I'm wrong there. I cannot exactly remember. But yeah, this is basically just an emerald machine. You can AFK at this and get tons and tons of stuff, and it's a really cool farm, but it's like 2,000, 3,000 blocks away in the east direction, so I don't really want to fly over there right now. So I think that is everything in the overworld. As I said, time to head to another dimension, and as you may be able to guess through what we are currently in right now, we are heading to the end. Now there really isn't anything in here exactly other than my Enderman farm. As you can see, it's basically just the original End Island. I didn't bother doing anything up here. I've done a mega project before on the Ripple Effect SMP server where I basically transformed the entire End Island, and it took forever, so I really didn't want to do it again. But yeah, we'll go quickly check out my Ender, just super quick. It's my own design. I had some trouble while building it. Actually had to do this multiple times, I do believe, because I kept building it on the wrong level and the Enderman just wouldn't spawn, but I got it to a good level where the Endermen are pretty frequent, and I do get a helpful amount of XP from this, but not as much as I do from my gold farm, which is in the Nether, which is where we are heading next. So this is my Nether Portal, and I actually really like this design. I'm super happy with how it turned out. There's something just quite majestic about super large Nether Portals, and this one isn't as big as it gets, I don't think. I'm pretty sure you can go a lot bigger than this, but I think it looks super cool and something a little bit different. So over here we just have basically a little enclosed area, and I made a small little garden around, kind of Japanese inspired a little bit. These are meant to be some mystical blossom trees of sorts, and we got some pretty flowers like some blue, pinks and whites and that sort of thing going well with the color palette. And look, we have a friend. How are you doing today, Zombified Piglin? Is that your name? I forget nowadays, because you're not a pigman anymore. They're old school. They don't exist. But yeah, this is my Nether Portal. Let's head through and I can show you what's on the other side. So the first thing you see when you step into the Nether in my world is my Nether Base. That is if you're not on the lookout for gas. Can we shoot that guy, or is he going to despawn by the time my arrow lands? I reckon that might be good. Yeah, there we go. We got him. So this is my Nether Base, which is obviously what we built when 1.16 first came out, the Nether update. And I found this pretty cool spot in the basalt deltas, and let's actually just maybe fly over there so we can actually get a good look at the house itself, because there isn't really a good spot to land. So yeah, this is it right here. A super creepy kind of I'm not really sure what style it would be exactly. Possibly there is a word, but I cannot think what it's called. I'll have to put it up on the screen. But yeah, that style kind of mixed with the Nether vibes, which I think just go perfectly together, hand in hand. So yeah, this is my Nether base. Again, like all of my bases aside my main one in this world, I don't use it that often, but it is still nice to have around. So down here on the bottom level, we just have some display cases and a couple of other cool things here and there, as well as my netherite forge. Now, I do actually have a tutorial for this build, but basically, it's just a fun way of crafting netherite scraps, or netherite ingots, basically. So, yeah, you basically chuck it all in the fire, or it comes out of the fire. I can't honestly remember. It's been a long time since I've used this, but if we head up to the second level here, this is where my storage is. Again, I was a bit overestimated how much I would use this, so it's basically just some basalt, blackstone and netherrack in here, as well as a few odds and sods just in those two chests. But then if we go up to the top level, we have the bedroom, where we don't have a bed, of course, that would be bad. We instead have a respawn anchor, which has one of the coolest noises ever, as well as one of the nicest textures in this game. This is super cool. I do really quite like this. So yeah, that's my Nether base. But then if we just take this vine, let's go all the way down actually, because there is some stuff at the bottom here, I believe. We have some mines where I go digging for netherite. Not that I don't really do that anymore. It's been a long time since I've needed to. But we do also have a basalt generator here, which was a design from Il Mango. And I can't remember exactly how this works. I'm not going to turn it on just in case I break it, but it's like super powerful. If I actually just show you some of the chests down here, like I have more basalt than I could ever possibly need. It's a really efficient farm. Heading back up the twisted vine here, at the top of the tower, I do also have an enchanting room, which I think I probably used once. Not really needed, but I got it up here anyway. It was like the perfect fit to squeeze that one in there, so I decided to do that. But then if we head round the back of my base here, we have this super awesome looking entranceway, which leads to our piglin bartering system, which has gone through a couple of iterations before I landed on something that was pretty cool. So down here we have all of our storage for the numerous items you get from it. And then if we take this twisting vine all the way up to the top, this is where I AFK, I think, yes, in the middle of the beacon beam here. And I won't turn it on just because I got to go get some gold to do it, and it's just, I'm on a time limit here for this one. Don't want the episode to be super long, but yeah, you put it in, and it's a really satisfying farm to watch. I timed it like to perfection so that when one cycle completed, it would continue around like very, very smoothly, shall we say. So you can go back and watch that episode if you want to see it up and running. But then down here we have the excess slash like overflow storage for all of the piglins, because I had to find a way to kind of spread out the items they were getting, because I was getting a bunch of issues with backlog and items not being picked up by hoppers, which is why, as I said, it went through multiple iterations. But yeah, we eventually landed on this design. It's probably more complex than it needs to be, but I really quite like it because, well, it's my own. I didn't use a tutorial, which makes me proud. There is one other cosmetic build in the Nether here, which is this little thing right here. Basically, these are some Strider stables. There's no real good way to actually show you it since it's surrounded by lava. But if we hop down there should be a hole somewhere that I can actually go down. Is this it? No, that's not it. It doesn't help that the basalt deltas are filled with these sort of things. Hang on, if we line ourselves up with the center, I guess this will do. This is probably it. But yeah, down here we just have a couple of striders that I can ride on if I ever want to. Bill and Ben, named after the flower pot men. This is interesting. Because I'm stood on top of the fence here, I can just walk up on top of the iron bar. I guess because it's 1.5 blocks high, technically the fence is. I don't know why that's interesting to me. It just is. So anyway, that, as I said, is it for cosmetic builds in the Nether. I do believe the only things left to show you are my farms, which we actually have to head to the roof of the Nether for. And then if we just plop back down and follow my signs that I left myself, so that is the Wither Skeleton farm. I guess we'll go to that one first. It's a pretty long trail of torches. But we do eventually come to the end, and those glass blocks up there are where I AFK, but I don't want to show you the AFK platform because, well, that's only it. What I do want to show you is the actual farm itself. So I did a whole bunch of spawn proofing. As you can see, this is what took so long to make this farm efficient, but I hopefully should be able to see a couple of Wither Skeletons actually spawning, maybe? Possibly not. Once again, this is not my farm design. I cannot remember whose this one is, I'm sorry. But yeah, this is just a super efficient Wither Skeleton farm, and they all spawn up here and are attracted to the piglin. They want to go kill him, so they fall down the chute here and are eventually eaten by my wolves, who are just holding some XP, which I will take if you don't mind. Thank you very much. Repair my pickaxe with that. So yeah, this is a super fun build and took a long time to make, but was well worth it in the end because I basically have unlimited beacons in this world. I think one time we actually made a stack of beacons, which was something I've never done before. But yeah, this is my little castle in the middle of the lava pool, which is a bit treacherous to get into, but as you can see here, these are where all of the drops go. I have barely any coal. I have a lot more Wither Skeleton skulls than I do coal. That says a lot. I must have picked that up and taken it home, as well as a bunch of bones, which is always very helpful. Back to the signs now, where the other one says gold and hoglin farm. So if we just go to the gold farm first, which is over here in the nether waste biome, which is very important to build a gold farm in. I actually made the mistake of building this absolutely ginormous farm in the wrong biome. I built it over here in the basalt deltas to begin with, fully completed it, storage system and all, only for it not to spawn in piglins at all, which was really disheartening. So I had to move over like, I don't know, 20 blocks and it was all fine in the nether waste biome. But yeah, this is my go-to farm if I need XP. As you can see, the piglins here fall like crazy because once again, I did a whole bunch of spawn proofing. And then if we follow the torches this way, we eventually end up at our hoglin farm, which is probably the most basic overpowered farm you could ever make. This is super simple to build and will yield you more food than you could ever need. I have so much pork chops as well as leather, I don't even know what to do with it all, and this probably, I don't know, I've maybe AFK'd here for less than an hour and got all of these drops. I've genuinely AFK'd like 2 times here and never needed to again. The build took like, I don't know, 20 minutes to do, so I'd really recommend building one of these in your world if you haven't already. Ah, there we go. It's nice to be back in the overworld where it's not all dark and dingy all the time. So yeah, that, with the exception of 2 builds, is everything in my world. Obviously one of them is the custom village, which we're heading to right now. Hello, cow. The other one is a Christmas village, which we unfortunately cannot go to. It will crash my world. For some reason, the armor stands that are there just cause an ungodly amount of lag and it's just not safe anymore. So yeah, we do have a Christmas village in this world. We just can't go to it anymore. But anyway, let's head inside our actual village, Fisher's Nest, which took over a year to make, and I don't even know how we're going to do this. We're not going to be able to go in every single building. Maybe we can just pick some of my favorites and check them out. And just generally have a walk around this place because I absolutely adore it. It's definitely my favorite thing I've ever made in Minecraft. I guess we'll start with a slight overview of the village from what I think is the highest point of the village, with the exception of that tower maybe, might be slightly taller by a couple of blocks, but we're currently still on top of the church tower and we got a pretty good view, so we'll stick to this. So yeah, as I said, this was a year-long project. Over that, in fact, we started it on, I believe, the 1st of April 2020, which was quite a long time ago when you think about it. And we've been working on this place every so often, not consistently. We have done some other episodes here or there, but my main focus in this world was getting the village done. And we just about got it wrapped up last episode. Getting this half of the village on this side of the river all done was a bit of a time stretch, but we managed it in the space of like 4 episodes. The rest of it took numerous, and yeah, this was a bit last minute, but I wanted to kind of get everything wrapped up in a nice little bow for the world tour here today. So yeah, basically the concept of this village, its name is Fisher's Nest because, well, the wall around it is kind of like a little bit of a nest, and this is after all a fishing village, because we have this river going all the way through. So we have some boats here coming for some sort of trade. Don't look too closely at the entrances and the heights of the boats and the width and the bridges and all of that sort of thing, because it doesn't make sense. None of these would actually fit in. But yeah, ignoring all of that, it's basically just a fishing village where you can come in and trade, and their main kind of transportation, I guess, would be on boats. And a lot of the actual villagers in this place are in fact fishermen, because there are so many barrels here and they've all decided to pick them up as workstations. So I guess let's check out the first build we did in this village. At least I think so anyway. It was not the bridge that we're currently crossing over, but the marketplace here and the meeting hall. So we actually have some villagers now in these individual stalls, which is just awesome, with their designated workstation. So like this guy is a weaponsmith selling... You picked up the wrong one. You might be a toolsmith, I think. But that's okay. That's probably me putting down the wrong workstation. But yeah, we got some cool stuff like armor over here. We got a herbalist. We got a leather worker who is a fisherman, but that's okay. And a jeweler and that sort of thing, as well as some stands in the middle. But they eventually lead to the town meeting hall here. I'm not exactly sure what it would be, but this is where the leader of this village, the mayor, I guess it's me, although I don't really want to put myself in the mayor's situation. That seems like a lot of work. But yeah, we got to the top here and we got some extra floors and then a bedroom at the top here, which has been slightly overran by villagers. So I guess these 5 can take my role as mayor and they can be in charge of the village since they just love this room so much. I think they're stuck by the trapdoors. They don't know how to get down and they've all come up here looking for a bed probably. Poor guys. So these 2 things are the only builds we did on this half of the village until recently. So I think let's head back over here and maybe go back to the entranceway here, because I think the next thing we did was actually build all of the individual villager profession houses here. So if we just take the first one here, for example, this is the leather worker's house, and as you can see on the inside, we have our actual leather worker who lives in here. He goes to sleep, he goes to his workstation, and that was kind of the plan for all 16 villager professions. I feel like that's wrong. 13 maybe? I'm not sure of the exact number. But yeah, we have all of the villager professions, each with their own individual villager. There's a bee up there. And for the longest time, until last episode, they were just trapped in their individual homes because I used them to trade sometimes, like with the cleric here, for example. Came in quite handy and was just kind of like a cool immersive way to go about villager trading. But yeah, in the end, I got rid of them, or got rid of the doors that were keeping them in. So they're now allowed to free roam. So just a couple of them, I guess we can head in here. We already checked out the leather worker. I think we'll go in the cleric's one here. This is probably my favorite villager house that we did. Looks pretty cool from the outside, and then from the inside we of course have his workstation, the brewing stand right here, and just some cool other things here with his bedroom round the back. And I guess we can go in one more. We'll do that one more. What one do we want to do? Maybe the weaponsmith here right at the end of the high street here, which I absolutely love. That's like one of my favorite views of this village, looking down the high street with the weaponsmiths building right at the end. I really do quite enjoy it. So yeah, super quick, let's actually just head inside here and check this one out. So we once again got some other stuff going on here, anvil, grindstone, that sort of thing. We got the forge over here with the campfire, and then up here is his bedroom where he goes to bed, as you cannot see because it's not nighttime. But yeah, we did that for all of the villager professions, as I said, and we also made tutorials for every single one of them. So if you want to build some of these in your own world, I simplified them a bit. So most of these are actually built on some sort of weird angle, like this one is on a diagonal to some extent. I smoothed them out and just made tutorials for all of them. So yeah, if you want to make some custom villager houses, you can go to the playlist and check all of these out. There is, however, one villager house which is completely different to the tutorial I made of it, which is the librarian's house, because I found this build a bit too big to do a tutorial for. It's actually an entire library, and it's quite an intricate build and would probably end up being, you know, like 40 minutes long plus, which is a bit too long for my tutorials. But yeah, this is one of my favorite builds of the village. We actually have the regular old library down the bottom here, plenty of bookshelves, some places to sleep, or sleep, no sleeping in the library, only sitting and reading. And then we can actually go up these stairs here. Hello, what are you doing? Goodness knows, he's gone all the way up to the enchanting table that is at the top of the tower here, as you can see. Once again, I never used this, but once again, it just fit the... Sorry, I fell right on your head then. It just fit the size of the tower too well not to put it in there. And it made sense being the library. But we go up here, as this villager is very strangely following me. Please stop it. We find all of the librarian's rooms. So this is where I have my precious mending books and other books that I like to trade with that I don't want to lose. So these, unfortunately, are the only villagers in Fisher's Nest which can't really go anywhere, just because I don't want to risk it. It is quite dangerous, especially if it gets to nighttime. So yeah, I just got all of the enchanted book trades that I want to keep and have access to. And yeah, I really like this build. From the outside as well as the inside, it definitely is one of my favorites. Another one of my favorites is our tavern over here, which I keep meaning to do a tutorial for, and I probably will one day. You just gotta give me some time. These are quite large builds, especially this one. But yeah, on the bottom level here, we have all of our drinking table and chairs and that sort of thing, and the actual bar with Stump, the tavern dog. And then we can go up to the second level here where we have another villager getting in the way, following me around, where we have some rooms so you can stay in here. I think there's a sheep in this room. Yes, there is. Okay, that room's obviously busy. You can't book that one out, but the rest of them are open if you need someone to sleep the night away. There are also just a lot of smaller builds that are meant to be just individual houses, not really serving any sort of purpose other than residential, and they're just kind of throughout the pathways here, dotted on the sides. And this again is one of my favorite parts to walk through in the village, what we just did right there. I absolutely love it. I'm not really sure what it is, but going around that corner back there, I just feel so immersed, and I absolutely love it. But yeah, we got some small little alleyways here for shortcuts, going through different parts that aren't really meant to be, you know, actual pathways, but they're shortcuts, so they're unofficial pathways, shall we say. And I love looking down into the windows there of the blacksmith shop is what that one is. But we go on further on this way, and I guess we'll take a left here. We've already been over there a little bit. We have a small garden just filled with a bunch of little pieces of decoration, and this once again is a very nice part of town, including a tree swing, which does not move at all, but we can pretend that it does. And then we'll go in further this way, and of course that's how we get over to the other side via the bridge. We do have a big old windmill here with a giant crop farm, with some farmers actually, you know, doing some work, as you can see, doing a great job. Iron Golem up there watching over. And I guess while we're talking about iron golems, we can actually go all the way to the end of this pathway here, where we have a grave and memorial for Clank, who was a iron golem who unfortunately died protecting the villagers in the early stage of its life. But yeah, what I was going to show you over here was actually just some more of the individual homes and take a walk through some of the smaller alleyways, which again is just my favorite thing to do, kind of going feeling really tightly enclosed by it. It sounds a little bit silly, but not being able to see anything else of the Minecraft generation and only being able to see things that I've placed down by hand just kind of gives me a nice warm feeling inside. I don't quite know how to explain it. Maybe some of you who have made villages in the past can relate to what I'm saying here. But yeah, that is basically all of the homes on this half of the village. I don't think there's anything I necessarily want to show you exactly other than possibly this over here. We have a vineyard with all of the berries planted on some coarse dirt, and yeah, I do quite like that little section. Fills up some nice land, so I didn't have to come up with another building idea to fill it with. And then we got our villager working over here. This is meant to be filled with berries, and you kind of crush it down into wine by stepping on it, you know. And then on the inside of here, we have all of our wine storage with using the crimson wood. I've used slabs here. I've cheaped out a little bit as some wine stained oak planked floor, which I think is a fun little detail to add in. So yeah, we got a bunch of barrels here to store all of the wine, and then inside of here is the shop to sell it, and then upstairs is the wine seller's house or room where he would stay and sleep. This is once again one of my favorite builds in the village, and I'm curious, do you guys have a favorite build? I think I've asked this many times before, but I'd like to know. So if you have a favorite build in the village, do let me know down in the comments. Okay, this video is really getting on in the length department, and I'm trying desperately to keep it under an hour. Not sure if I'm being successful or not. I guess you guys will know before I do. So I think that's all we're going to check out on this side of the village. Let's cross over. We're going to be extra quick and just find faceplant. How did I not take damage then? Did you guys see that? My hearts didn't even go down. You heard the noise, but no damage was taken. That's kind of cool. So yeah, we'll just take a quick walk around here. This, by the way, is the village map, in case any of you were wondering. So there's that. We have a high street here, and as I've said before in this episode, most of this was built in like the past 5 episodes. It was a very last minute thing. So we have a high street here. We can go around to this side. We got a big old inn to sleep in if you need somewhere to stay. And then this is a tavern. So if you're staying in the inn, there's nowhere to drink, so you got to go to the tavern if you want to have some beer maybe. And then we have this build right here, which is the mining operation in the village, where we have some stuck villagers. Are you guys okay? So yeah, this is one of my favorites over on this side of the village here. I think it's one of your guys' favorites too. A lot of you really liked this build when we did it in the episode. And then we'll go around this way. We have a couple of smaller builds, which we won't look too closely into. But this right here is the moneylender's office. Basically like a bank if it was an individual person. If you need some money or some funds, that's where you gotta go. We then have the school with a playground around this side over here. And then if we just walk on around this side, we have a doctor's surgery, a mill to make some bread, and then this is another fisherman's house where they're selling some fish outside. And then we have one of our docks that we have placed around a couple of other times in the village here. This is a bit of a bigger map in the cartographer's house if you want a closer look at what it all looks like from a bird's eye view. The other one is a lot smaller, but let's fly out here and just lastly take one final overlook of the village whilst the sun is setting. I guess we'll stand on top of the meeting hall here. That should be a pretty good place to plonk ourselves down. So yeah, this is Fisher's Nest, and I am so incredibly proud of it. And I just want to once again thank you guys for joining me on this mega project. It's a long time in the making, and I'm just so happy with how it turned out. And I know I said all this last episode, but I'm saying it again because yeah, a lot of you left some really lovely comments on the last episode, so I'm super glad you enjoyed it. But yeah, that I think is going to conclude our village tour and therefore our world tour. I now need to get out of here really quickly and beat the sun before it sets and go to bed, and yeah, stop mob spawning over here or all of our villagers will be eaten for sure. So there we go, everybody. That is my world tour. Everything we have built in this world is now showcased in this video. So I really hope you did enjoy watching, but we're not ending the video off just yet. I do have a couple of things to say. One related to the world download, 2 related to what we're going to be doing next. First of all, the world download. I would absolutely love to let every single one of you watching right now have the ability to download this world and walk around it for yourself if there were going to be no negative consequences. Basically, In the past, when I've done public world downloads, with the exception of Techtopia, those are my only public world downloads nowadays, but all of the previous ones I've done, I've had some issues in the past where other content creators basically download it and steal my content and what I've built and pass it off as their own. And it is really demotivating and just annoying to see that sort of stuff. So what I'm going to be doing, like what a lot of other YouTubers do, is just letting my YouTube members and Twitch subs have access to it. And I'm really sorry for any of you who are unfortunately in a position maybe where you can't do that. I wish there was a way around it where I could stop people stealing my stuff and still let all of you guys access it. But unfortunately, it's not really possible. So yeah, I hope if you want to look around the world but you can't become a member or a Twitch sub, then this video was good enough for you. But to those of you who are members and can access this world download, I have this book here, which is basically filled with a bunch of coordinates of everything that we've kind of looked at today. So you can go around here and teleport yourself to all of them, and it'll just, save you trying to find it yourself, because it isn't very well put together, this world. It's a little bit all over the place. There's no, direct pathways or signs leading to anything. So hopefully when you do download the world, you should spawn in with the book in hand, and yeah, you can go from there. One other thing, I play on Java Edition, so for all of you who also play on Java Edition, there will definitely be a world download for you. But to those of you on Bedrock Edition, I'm going to try and figure out a way to make it downloadable for you too. I don't know whether it's going to work or not. Obviously, you will be able to tell when you go in my Discord server and check the downloads. Advanced apologies if I cannot get it to work. So as far as the future of this series and what we're going to be doing next is concerned, I've split it up into 3 different parts. As you can see behind me here, we have 3 different signs. So we'll start off with the short term. Pretty much what we're going to be doing after this episode is done, pretty much. We will still continue to have Techtopia episodes every other Saturday, but obviously something will have to replace the survival series. So pretty much what I'm going to be doing is just, I have an idea for a mini-series consisting of 2 to 3 episodes. And by the time that is actually done, it may be time for 1.17, but if I need to fill some extra time, we have the idea of doing some one-off videos. So just some fun video ideas that I've been wanting to do for a while, but haven't really had the opportunity to do it. So for the short term, mini-series and one-off videos with the possible potential of more Techtopia if I'm really stuck for ideas. But on the midterm, what we're going to be doing, and here's where it gets exciting, when 1.17, the first part of the update, comes out that doesn't have the world generation in, we're going to be doing a hardcore series, which is something I am super excited for. I never thought I would do a hardcore series, but I've been thinking about it for a while and decided it's something I really want to try out, and I think it'd be a fun watch. So yeah, we're going to be doing a hardcore series until the next part of the update comes out in the later part of the year, when we eventually get the terrain generation and everything sorted out. So we'll be doing hardcore until the end of the year, and basically when we get to that point, bearing in mind we don't die, which is possible, I'm going to try my best not to, we will either end the series, I guess, or kill ourselves in some extravagant way, and then move on to doing a survival series like this one here, and I will most likely just start a new world with the whole new terrain generation and everything like that. So yeah, that's the plan. Mini-series, one-off videos, then we'll do hardcore for the first part of 1.17, and then we'll be back here doing survival. That's the plan. Obviously, things are subject to change. It may not go down exactly like that, but I just want to give you an idea of what I'm currently planning, basically, for the rest of the year. So that means this is most likely a goodbye to this world. Obviously, I'm not going to delete it or anything like that. I can still come back and visit whenever I want. But as far as making episodes here in this world, we're most likely done. Again, like I said earlier, things are subject to change. I may end up just pruning the chunks in this world and starting a new one like that, but I feel like by the time Christmas comes around, I'm going to want to start a new world entirely, and I most likely would have moved on by then. So yeah, this is goodbye everybody. I just want to say once again a humongous thank you for the continued support of this series from episode 1 all that time ago up till episode 50 now. It's been a long time in the making, and I just want to say thank you, because without your support and without you guys watching and commenting and liking and all that wonderful stuff, I would not be here. I wouldn't make videos at all. Honestly, I would have got bored of it by now most likely, or at least not make them as consistently as I do. But yeah, so one big massive thank you to every single one of you watching right now, if there even are any of you still on the video. It's a bit of a long one, so I understand if not everybody made it. But thank you so much everybody for watching. I really hope you did enjoy this world tour, and I will see you in the next video, whatever and whenever it may be. Bye for now.